Yeah. So, very good evening and namaskar, everyone. Thank you so much, for joining. After a brief hiatus of Sciversation, we are again back. I'm sorry for this, long wait of almost 2.5 months. We haven't had Sciversation for a while because of schedules. Although there are about nine more guests who have already been booked, or who have already been confirmed with the slots. Somehow we couldn't get the things done. Uh, can I just request someone to switch off your microphone, please? I'm getting some background noise. I apologize, please. Yeah. Yeah. So, and then we were supposed to meet 2 weeks ago with Pratap V.V. Reddy's Sciversation, but somehow that couldn't go well. We couldn't get his time again. So today we have a great honor in having Sri Manjari. She is first. I'll probably introduce her as a geneticist with a background in human genetics from Osmania University. And in 2014, she graduated with a PhD. And then she also worked for Institute of Genetics and Allied Hospitals for Genetic Diseases, which is an affiliate of Osmania University. She also worked there as a senior research fellow, and then she worked for University College for Women in Osmania University between 2018 and 2022, before she joined as a senior scientist and scientific writer at GenePowerX, which is a company based in Hyderabad. Um, Manjari is not only a geneticist or a scientist, but she's also a secretary for Bioclues par excellence. We have had, probably one of the best secretaries so far for Bioclues organization. She also steers, the Women in Biology Forum, and our interest, lies in certain rare diseases where she has worked on matrix metalloproteinases in lieu of inflammatory markers for certain chronic pancreatitis and also some kind of other LE diseases. That was when she was probably working as a project fellow at Institute of Genetics, and over the last I would say 2-3 years, she has also been associated steadfastly with Bioclues, managing the bioinformatics for school children, the Women in Biology Forum, and also her inherent capacitance is also in lieu of Vedic Mathematics, where she is always proud of. She is blessed with two wonderful kids and a proud husband, and she is more than a wonderful inspiration, not only for women biologists but also for scientists around. So, without wasting much time, thank you so much, Manjari, for obliging to my request. So, please, she'll start with our first 10 to 15 minutes of presentation, and then we'll have certain questions extempore. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much, Prash, for that uh, allocative introduction for me. Though I don't know how much I've deserved of that. I thought today that I'll share just my experience as what made me chose genetics, what inspired me genetics, and I'd like to take the opportunity to thank all the people till now who were associated in me in one way or another, especially uh, to continue let that flame of genetics or that small spark which had ignited me earlier as a kid till here till today. Whoever I've met had been a great inspiration for me to continue in this particular field. So I thought I'd take this opportunity to just share those experiences. So presently, as Prash had told, I work in a company called GenePowerX, which is a genetics based company, which I'll give an overview in, towards the end. To start with, I'd have to say my inspiration for genetics have always been my teachers, right from my school. Yeah, the teachers had always inculcated or inspired me to ask questions. Never to get a simple answer. They would always encourage me to learn many things or keep questioning. So that inquisitive nature, or my inclination towards science, had been right from my school days. And one of my teachers is a science teacher who I proudly tell to everybody is Mrs. Neelima Deshpande, and she was the one who had put in that way of looking towards the world with wonder, with the eyes of science, basically. So I always have a gratitude towards her to for being such a great teacher who are always inspired me. And I did my schooling from Kendra Vidyalaya, Gachibowli, until 10th, no, up until 12th. And just like, many of the young budding scientists, or, the older ones also, I got inspiration, the seeds of genetics, which I got interest from, was CCMB during the open day. Even I was among those, one of the many throngs of students who just come to have a brief visit on that open day. And that inspired me to be, to do something in genetics, to do some research in genetics. So yes, my seeds for research in genetics were sowed in this very place. And then I did my graduation from Shadan Degree College, followed by post graduation, that is MSc in genetics from Department of Genetics, Usmania University. And I would proudly say that all my teachers, right from my college, in even from the department, all the teachers were so inspirational. They had so much passion for research, and they always made me feel, yes, you did the right decision in choosing this particular subject. Be it Parveen ma'am and Anjana Munshi ma'am, who are my lecturers back in Shadan Degree College, as well as Professor Kavikishore sir were the head of the department during our PG, 2 years of PG. And he treated us with, like, not just like the next generation researchers. He would inspire us. He would say, you go into any lab, you want to learn anything, just tell me. You are very much free to go and learn anything. And then I be it Vishnu Priya ma'am, Padma Balravi ma'am, Pratibha ma'am, Ishaq sir, Prabhakar sir, Dashwant Reddy sir, all the best of the lot. And all of them, made us feel as if, genetics was the next best subject in the, best subject in the world to do your education, and as well as in research. And I continued this with doing my doctoral research at Institute of Genetics under Dr. Venkateshwari. And I did my research work on matrix metalloproteinases and cytokine gene polymorphisms in the pathogenesis of chronic pancreatitis. And the interest, what I learned, never wavered, because my doctoral work helped me understand how to do research, what to do, how to do, what not to do. And my guide always gave me that free hand to let me explore things on my own, and she would always back me up for that, and I'm very grateful and thankful for her for being that. And then immediately after my thesis submission, I happened to join the Telangana Vishwavidyalaya, Mahila Vishwavidyalaya, before it was called the University College for Women. And it was a blast. The Department of Genetics and Biotechnology, was a very, very, fun place, as well as with, fun, unique, and inquisitive minds. I would say like-minded lecturers and professors there. And I try to be, that good teacher, or a happy teacher rather than a perfect teacher, and tried teaching whatever I had learned from my teachers or lecturers, or the professors from the university, and with the same zeal and enthusiasm and that wonder for genetics, I try to inculcate even with my students. And I hope I did a good job, because I get whenever those students meet me, they feel so happy being part of as a student of mine. And then, as you know, Mr. Richard Dawkins has said, being a genetist, once a genetist, you're always a genetist, because whatever we talk, we end up talking about genetics, and maybe that is because we are inherently, programmed to be genetists, talk about genetics, be a genetist. And so I've continued my, job in my company called Gene PowerX, where I had this opportunity. Every PhD student have this question at the end of their thesis, and at the end of their viva also. How is this research? How is your research going to be, helpful for the society? So I understood that my doctoral work was, comes under the category of basic research, which needs to be translated into clinical research to help improve the health of the common man, or what we that's what we say. So this is the place where I got the opportunity, where I'm now working as a, in a translational research, where we convert the basic and clinical research being done, and try to make sure that it reaches the common man, to have them a healthy, happy life. So Gene Powerx is a company. It's just a very small company owned by two physicians, Dr. Himachala and Dr. Kalyan Upuluri, both being physicians. They, also got inclined towards genetics during their stay in United States. So they pursued their education further there, and then opened this company, so as to, convert the conventional healthcare into a personalized medicine. So we strive to, have different ways of reaching out people, so that we make some kind of effect on their, life in a good way, so that they can, everyone can reap benefits out of the genomic research which we proudly do in those labs, in as big lab as CCMB, to, a medium sized lab from genetics department, to, all it gives us hope that yes, research do reach, can reach a common person. And then finally, I've been part of Bioclues almost right since its inception. Back those days, it was only a Google group. Right now, we have very nice, social media communities and WhatsApp group, where we are able to interact with each other even much more better way. And just as, Bioclues has evolved, over time, it has given me, opportunity to part of this particular humble yet huge group of, scientists who are very much inclined towards sharing their knowledge, what they've incurred right from, just like me, right from their college days, or during research days. And I thank uh, Prash to have given me such huge responsibility. When he approached me, I said, Prash, there are so many, experienced scientists when compared to me. I'm just a budding person. I have, when compared to all those, I still feel so small. But Prash had a lot of confidence in me. And yeah, so as the Robert Frost had said, miles and miles before I go to sleep. So that is my brief introduction, as Prash asked me to do this. Thank you very much.
Yeah, wonderful, Manjari. Thank you so much, for this, scintillating talk. Very crisp, very lucid, and wonderful, introduction. It's been, amazing journey that you have had. Apart from you being a wonderful scientist, wonderful secretary for Bioclues, mother of, two lovely children, and a wonderful, wife to a wonderful husband. But if you really go through the kind of, career paths that you have taken up, Manjari. What amazes me is that you never had any feel like career breaks. Despite raising two children and taking up so many activities, and you have always been been a kind of an inspiration and a kind of a very active persona. So what was the secret behind this? Yeah.
Secret is, as I told you, Prash, I've always met, like-minded, mad about, genetics or mad about research kind of people, and they've always inspired me to, keep continue. Or, even if the break was there when I had to stay back at home with my kids, I saw it as an opportunity to learn something, even that small brief period. There's no gap. There are always, ways in which we can always grow. There's I wouldn't say you only have to go to office or only you have to go to college, then only your research will increase, or experience will increase. I don't agree with that. We have so many avenues right now, when compared to what I was studying when I was in my PG, post graduation, and I was doing MSc genetics. Internet centers were still, internet hadn't reached homes so widely. And right now, if you see, there are so many online opportunities. You can keep learning. There is no end to learning. Knowledge is like a deep, huge ocean. So the more you go in, the more you go in. That's it. So it is that. That's what keeps me going. Okay.
Wonderful way to insert that, Manjari. I mean, splendid. I was just wondering, Manjari, having worked for academia, how good was your experience, so far in industry, and what was going through your mind, when you opted for Gene Power X? Yeah.
When I almost submitted my thesis, I immediately wanted that, I wanted teaching as part of my, CV, resume. I wanted that on paper, that I, taught somewhere. But during my doctoral work itself, when we, usually mentor the project students who come to, visit us, I understood that I had an inclination towards, explaining things better. So, I used to get compliments that I teach better. So I thought, okay, let me give it a try. And I found it, equally inspiring also there, because I had to learn something even from those kids. Teaching them also, helps me, or helped me also learn many things and, move forward. Then after 3 years, I felt that now it's a time, for a change in my career. And I thought it would be best now that, my doctoral work is from Osmania University, being a government, institute. Now I wanted to see whether, where I stood, when I, wanted to enter into the industry. So that's when I came across Gene Power X. Where they were, looking for, certain positions. So I thought, when I sent my CV, I wasn't exactly looking for scientific writing position, but they were kind of, impressed by my CV because I had good number of publications. So that is they said that, see, I have this opportunity to explore even in our company. It's not just I'm confined to only writing. I can explore, I can research, I can see to the service activity, I can look into the regulations part of it. So that's exactly, kind of what I had in my mind, where I could explore things. So that's exactly where I am, and so happy for being, in that part of industry.
Right. Wonderful, Manjari. I mean, if you really look back, the way genetics, or probably the evolutionary genetics, is being perceived these days, it really hurts, among us, the commoners. So, for example, the NCRT has probably disliked or removed, Darwinism, and there are certain aspects, where some kind of disagreements are suddenly happening between commoners and probably scientists, post COVID times. I mean, as a geneticist, what's your particular take on this? And can you probably give your insights here? Yeah.
Okay, I would say that evolutionary genetics, we need to take it in a different way, in the sense that how we look into these, the population genetics which we have, and how we interpret those results. We need we need not stick to those age old what do you say calculations. We have to improvise ourselves with the new age AI and artificial intelligence and machine learning algorithms to look into patterns properly, so that people have that faith in the evolutionary genetics still. Because personalized medicine all over the world, if you see the way they give out the reports, is they say that it's ancestry based. True, I agree to it, but one have to improvise and inculcate whatever newness, the way the statistics has to be done, the way you look at the data needs to be changed. If you do that, yes, it is still a very good science. And example, and the best example being the Nobel Prize given to the evolutionary geneticist only, right? So we can't
Wonderful.
say that. Yeah, we can't say that it's gone. No, the recent Nobel Prize was given for an evolutionary genetics only. There is a research on evolution only. So we can't just say that. Yeah. So it's just that how we present it and how we have to push. Government said it's not wrong. I mean, it's not the only thing.
Right. I agree, Manjari. Very well said. Moving further, Manjari, you have somehow, what amazes me is also about your, experience as a Vedic math scientist or a Vedic math
I
teacher.
wouldn't say a
That's
scientist, but yes, you see, everybody looks at the traditional knowledge of India, which we have in a very different kind of way. So I've heard people say that it is not scientific at all. And I've seen people who say no, it has a good amount of science. And I would say I believe in those have every kind of similar kind of knowledge which has been assimilated through centuries, been put in there. So for me, those are like puzzles. Everybody like riddles, right? Riddles and puzzles. So how you break down those puzzles is what matters. And one part of it, what always I always hooked on to Vedic mathematics was it was maths, right? It is much more practical. You can see the whatever the principles laid down by the old sages, or we what we call it as Vedic sages, still works even to this day. So we can't what do we say that it's not science, it's not maths. It is there, right? So that's what hooked me. So yeah, in future maybe I'll look into back into Ayurvedic. Even there's already work going on by many scientists, even from genomics side, when looking into Ayurveda. To see if they can find some good patterns. How the genomics are there regarding Vata, Pitta. Even CCMB themselves had done. Scientists from CCMB have done. So I look at Vedas or the Vedic literature in the sense of riddles with every kind of subjects, just not philosophy, just not what do you call this uh, just medicine. It has everything. It's just the way how you look into it is what matters. Yeah.
very good, Manjari. And as an ardent employee, as a scientist, and as a scientific writer at GenePowerX, looking at the Indian pluralistic society, especially the scientific society, somehow we couldn't guzzle that amount of freedom in writing good manuscripts. We always failed
Yeah.
in writing probably good manuscripts. Maybe that could also be because of the poor English background and the so-called the predatorism or the flabbergasting kind of thing, or enfeebling the kind of approaches that the journals probably instigate. So I was just wondering how GenePowerX promotes or takes up such kind of art of writing to your employees and also to the scientific community. Yeah.
They encourage anything new, any new idea. They wouldn't, just put it down saying that that doesn't sound like, to the point of the company's, policies and all. They always encourage, that newness to let you explore. In that sense, our company does an amazing job. You have an idea, how to write, you want to present an idea. Let's say go ahead. That's okay. It's okay to stumble. It's okay to go wrong. That's okay. So yeah, so that's the kind of that the kind of support. I think I don't have to worry too much about all these things.
Right. No. Wonderful. And I mean, looking at the science and conscience of biologists in India,
Hmm.
In our survey and also in others' survey as well, you'll be surprised to know that 78% of what do you call women take up biology, or the other way around. 78% of biologists, are women, I would say. Okay,
Hmm.
which is, I mean, in India at least, I would say. Okay,
Hmm.
which is a whopping, big number, I would say, in terms of how biology is perceived in India. And at the same time, it's also kind of a sorry figure in terms of how gender balance is really taken up. Not just because the gentlemen do not take up biology, but there is a kind of a growing perception in communities or in families that ladka hai to let's take up engineering, and ladki hai to let's take up biology. Why is this sorry or abysmal attitude being perceived in Indian community? What's your take on
I
this?
wouldn't agree it's just in India, Prash. It is there abroad also. People raise their questions, raise their voices saying that why are males are paid more with the same amount of work, with the same category when compared to women. At least I find in India, at least that kind of discrimination is not seen for your position. Say, suppose for the same scientist position, a lady is also equally paid when compared to the gents also. We have another set of problems, you know the religion, casteism, whatever you call it, it still exists. I'm sorry to say that, but that's a fact of India. But it is slowly changing. But the gap between the knowledge dissemination um, from villages to cities is still kind of, I would say, haphazard. I wouldn't say there's a linear growth, or there's exponential growth or something like that. Because we equally value traditional knowledge, the conflict arises. Why? Because tradition says something, and science, as the modern science or whatever the modern ideology says something. So there's a clash of ideologies basically. So yeah, it depends on how we convince people. At the end of the day, I always tell students that it doesn't matter you get 98%, 99% in your inter or your engineering or PG. It's how you use that 100% of your brilliant knowledge to convince people to take up opinions, change their feudal thoughts, etc. So I wouldn't just I wouldn't say that it's only in India. It's all over the world. There is this gender discrimination, and we have a different kind of discrimination, which I feel that we have to all join hands and use our intellectual minds to change those attitudes.
Wonderful. Yeah, you have been absolutely very vocal ever since I knew you, Manjari. You're absolutely very open-minded, very vocal, very straightforwarded. Were there any instances where you probably disagreed in an agreeable way with your colleagues, or with your mentors, or with your
Yeah,
colleagues?
I've been always, open and frank. Only thing is, you have to present it in a proper way. It's not like since just because I'm talking truth doesn't mean that I can say it in an arrogant way. I have to, pick the proper time and the right attitude to convey this message, because, as they say, you can hit a rod when it's very hot, then only it bends properly. So when it's not, when it's cool or when it's normal, if you keep hitting it takes more hits, more time. So I use this kind of strategy. Just wait for the right time, and uh, right place, just like gene expression, normal gene expression, right place, right time. So genetics inspired me to be like that. And then you are correct, Prash. It's more like agreement rather than debate. There, it doesn't have to be a huge fights or debates where you are trying to make your point. It's just a matter of when and where and how you tell the thing. That's it.
Yeah. Uh, uh, One probably final question from my side before we move to the Q&A from the audience. The current generation of PhD fellows, or maybe the current genre of PhD fellows, I would call it as a genre rather generation,
Hmm.
are probably not that serious as probably we were. I mean, with due respect to them. I
Hmm.
mean, I'm not trying to mile them or mile this particular sentence. I'm not probably want to scrutinize or insult the new generation. But do you also see this kind of trend that is unfortunately going on, because there has been a kind of an abysmal number of uh, 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 statistics that is really being recorded, that
Hmm.
many PhD fellows are not probably taught the very basic essence of what philosophy is, or what epistemology is. That is not
Yeah.
probably being taken up. So what's your take on this, Manjari, and what
See,
is your
I
probably
see.
advice to them?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I understood your question here. See, when we chose that, our path towards, PhD, doing a PhD, we did more out of, our interest and passion more than, necessity. Right now, people are doing MSc, TK, what are the job opportunities? And it is, absolutely, there's a lot of competition out there. So what they think is that, okay, do another degree at a higher degree would maybe put you, bit, a higher position than the rest of those who are not doing those PhD. That is the kind of first attitude which is maybe probably, pushing these people towards PhD. So but I would always keep saying that PhD means you have to have, patience, passion and persistence to continue. It's not like you have, done PhD. It's not like someone is going to call you and, give you top notch position. It's not like you have done your IAS and then you'll be given definitely a position on that. Even for those IAS people, they have do a hell lot of work, hell lot of study, hell lot of, work to do that. So the reason why you find, the latest generation having, not interested towards PhD, or because that is because they don't know what to expect out of it. I would say it is the lack of knowledge which is, prompting such kind of mentality. But with the, right mentoring, I think this would go. But again, there also I've seen that, not all mentors are equally passionate or, patiently guide their students. So yeah, that's a kind of sorry situation, but it's not entirely hopeless, I feel. So this is where we as Bioclues come in and tell them, or teach them through our experiences, that what a PhD is, what kind of journey we have to go through. And uh, and we learn from experiences of others. So this is what we are here for, to tell our experience to them, so that at least they know what to expect out of the, a doctoral work. So yeah, so I would say there is more of lack of knowledge of, being preached, as you rightly said, what a philosophy, would entail, what sort of work it would entail. So that is what maybe the reason why they have this kind of mentality.
Wonderful, wonderful, Manjari. I'll reserve two more questions maybe after the audience has some questions. So here we already have questions from Indrani and Anuj. I think
Mm-hmm.
Indrani's question was already answered by you in the other way, or the other earlier when I asked. Indrani, would you like to unmute your microphone, please? Yeah. Please be very crisp. Yeah.
Yeah, no, sir. I had that question. It got answered already, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, one
Thank you, ma'am.
difference is
Wonderful
that
speech.
industrial is more of a, practicality of how you're applying the research we have learned in the academia. So that is the difference. So we, as what do we say, those who are doing your PhDs in their academic institution, you have to know the reality of the situation. You should know what a typical industry expects, and you need to bridge those gaps, and automatically you'll have, you won't feel so, what do you say, discouraged by whatever you learned and what is expected out of the industry. Okay.
Yeah, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a question from Anuj. Is Anuj around? Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've read that question, Anuj, how to read about ancient texts about medicine. First, learn Sanskrit first. That's the best answer I can give you. Okay, so you need to first learn Sanskrit. And Sanskrit is pretty easy. Being an Indian, half of the words are from Sanskrit, so learning it doesn't make much difference. So yeah, learn Sanskrit and then the grammar of it, and then you can start, you read those medicinal texts.
Right, wonderful, Manjari. Manjari, I just thought, I was just wondering, what made you to choose matrix metalloproteinases in chronic pancreatitis? How did this problem arrive to you?
The problem was actually already defined by me, by my guide, because she had written a project for that. And this came because she had earlier done a similar kind of study in peptic ulcers. So she thought, and that too, chronic pancreatitis is not a well studied, subject in India. It was only during that time, parallelly, CCMB. Chandak sir was doing a similar research where he was looking into founder, mutations. Because in the Western world, there was a gene called PRSS1, which was a kind of founder mutation. That is, mutation in that will result in chronic pancreatitis. So he wanted to replicate the same result in India, and he found to his surprise that it was not so. Ours is a different kind of population with a different kind of founder mutation, SPINK1. So matrix metalloproteinase is why we got interested, is that because we need to understand the in-depth of the disease. Not much has been there. It's like, chronic pancreatitis only in the last 5-6 years, there's a good amount of work being going on. So we wanted to understand the disease better. Okay. So based on the symptoms, we thought that, the matrix changes would be a lot, because there's a lot of irreversible changes in chronic pancreatitis. Pancreas, once damaged, can't, survive like, liver. Liver has some kind of regenerative capacity to some extent, but pancreas doesn't have that. So we thought we'd look into those inflammatory markers, because, chronic inflammation is like, in starting stages, it's a, boon to the body, because it's trying to save the organ. Whereas a stage after a threshold, those same cytokines or inflammatory markers are more of a bane, because they're going to kill those cells. So this is where we wanted to explore the genetic differences. Is there, any such genetic differences in, metalloproteinases and cytokines? So that's how I chose those markers.
Wonderful, Manjari. In fact, I've recently been introduced to these MMPs actually over the last 1.5 years. My colleague here, we were writing a kind of a. I was also reading a lot of literature on MMPs and trying to understand their essence in flies, looking into some kind of coding RNAs and other stuff. It really instigated some kind of confidence in me that MMPs are those wonderful progenitors in cells that can really
and that too, the same, these MMPs are like ubiquitous molecules, because in one organ it is playing one role, in other organ it's playing another role, in inflammation it is playing one role, in cancer it is playing another role. It is like, it has multiple functions. So it is quite interesting to read about, to study these, because you never know where we can strike, we'll get a kind of master molecule which can be used to regulate a kind of disease, or step off a disease kind of thing.
Right, wonderful. One final question, Manjari. Say, if you were to probably become the Science and Technology Minister, Union Science and Technology Minister for India, what would be your, certain takes, that you would like to bring kind of, immense changes in India? Yeah.
Immense changes in India. I would make Bioclues compulsory. Everybody to join in Bioclues. I'll promote Bioclues first. The kind of whatever challenges or lacunae we just talked about, right? The knowledge dissemination, or there should be transparency, just not for researchers, junior researchers assigned, the PhD scholars. Even for the same kind of transparency should be also there for guides. So just as students are asked to give a progress report from their guides, even the guides should get a progress report from their respective scholars. So there's a kind of equal balance in power, rather than tip of balance, because that will promote more healthier research, healthier attitude with each other. Because I think you and I don't have to speak about the unspoken truths. So that would be the first thing I'd be doing. And I'll definitely make sure that the opportunities of research grants should go equally to all, and there shouldn't be no misuse of such funds. And obviously get India onto the top rank, even more better than, just like India is the most populous country in the world right now. I would make India as the best, country for research in genetics and biotechnology.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, for those wonderful words, Manjari, and amazing respect that you have for Bioclues. I mean, Bioclues has really grown over the last 2 years, with your wonderful presence and the kind of leadership, that you have been steering. What also amazes me is the kind of camaraderie that you probably bring it with the core members, the way that you bring in all these kind of scientific temperament, judged by wonderful tasks that are really cut out for all the core members. That's quite amazing. Thank you so much. We are greatly honored with this. Friends, I hope you all agree with me that this was the probably the sweetest, the shortest, the stealthiest, and the stupendous civilization that we have ever had. I think all the questions were probably answered in minutes, as if in a very bigger sense. I want all of you to keep your mouth wide open with all the 32 teeth, for a wonderful photograph, where you will have a wonderful photograph, taken by none other than me. Okay, I'm a good photographer. Okay. Yes. Give me a minute. I need to just what do you call? I need to make that screen bigger. No, not that screen bigger. What do you call that? Yeah, change layout. Yeah.
Change layout.
Yes. 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 All of you, please. Yeah. Anuj, Bhargavi, Vrishab, Uzma, Ranjana, Loya sir, thank you so much for joining. Loya sir, is a mentor, and he never, skips these particular meetings. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Um, Renuka, please, Neyas, please, Swarali, Pushpendra, please, yeah. Rupasri, please. Thank you so much for joining. Please, yeah. And with all your permission, I'm going to put it in Twitter. Okay. So I hope there are no copyrights for this. Yeah. So thank you so much. Say cheese. 3, 2, and 1. Okay. I don't know why it didn't. Sorry. That's reason why खुद को तारीफ नहीं करना चाहिए. Take minute. I'm a good photographer. Give me a minute. I don't know why it didn't work this time. Yeah. Yeah. 3, 2, and 1. Yes, I got it. Yeah. Thank you so much. And we'll just wait for the next civilization. Thank you so much, Manjari. Yeah. Let's give a big round of applause to Manjari, please. Huh? Yeah.
Thank you all for ending this session. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you very much, one and all. Thank you. Yeah.